Hey everybody, welcome to another LaserDude99 video. So, this is a kind of a rant. I'm calling it a rant, but it's not really a rant of anger. It's more just a rant of something I noticed. This thing that I noticed that I've been really getting into and finding interesting female characters. Like, two of my favorite books that I'm reading right now is Batgirl, written by Gail Simone, and Supergirl, written by Michael Green. Both of these books of the relaunch, I think I've been really enjoying them. And I've been looking at a lot of stuff, and I've been noticing I'm really enjoying a lot of female characters in comic books and in other stuff too. And I'm just thinking, it's kind of interesting because, as a kid, I'm a guy, so I'm like, okay, I'm always going to be only interested in the guy characters. Girl characters, I could care less. That's just how you think of as a kid. I'm sure that girls thought kind of the same way. Like, okay, there's the girl character. I'm going to root for her throughout the movie, and I couldn't give two beats about the guy. Well, maybe not. I don't know. But it's something that I noticed that, I'm really liking the way these books are written and get into the, into the mindset of these two female characters. And then I was looking stuff. Like, I said in my top 10 characters that I want in the video game Injustice Gods Among Us, I said that Marvel doesn't really have as many popular female characters as DC does. The only ones that were on teams. And so, somebody said, well, yeah, but there's this. I'm like, yeah, but does she have her own solo book? And I'm like, wait a minute. What Marvel female character has her own solo book? Then I went back and checked. Marvel has absolutely zero female characters that have their own books. Like, I'm sure there's mini-series every now and then, but they have absolutely zero long-running titles right now, at least right now, that have characters that are, female characters that have their own books. Does that strike you as odd? Because in DC, let's say we got Supergirl, we got Batgirl, we got Batwoman, we got Catwoman, we got Wonder Woman. There's a lot of characters, and then there's the Birds of Prey, and they have their own book, and that's an all-female team. So, and of course you have different characters doing different stuff on teams, but it's really odd to me that Marvel has no female leads that just have their own book. I mean, the last one I saw was the Spider-Girl book, and I was actually, I think it was a book, I only saw part of it integrated into a Spider-Man story. I thought, this is cool, I would pick this up if I could find it. But I think that got canceled, or maybe it wasn't even a book, I don't know. But my point is, it's just like, why is Marvel... I'm not saying that Marvel writes female characters bad. I mean, when I read X-Men, Emma Frost is handled okay, and when I'm sure Susan Storm is handled fine. I'm not, as I say, I'm not as big as a Marvel guy as I am a DC guy, so I don't really know. But the characters seem to be written fine. Of course, there's always going to be exceptions of the female characters that are written bad, just like any characters that are written bad. But it's odd to me that Marvel has no female characters as their lead. And this is what I'm finding interesting, is because more and more girls are actually getting into comics on their own. I've recently done an interview with a comic book owner, thanks to my school, and I was talking to him, and he's like, yeah, more and more girls are becoming interested in comic books. They're dragging their boyfriends here, and I'm like, well, that's really interesting. And he says it's because they start with manga, then they work their way over to comic books. I'm like, so there's an entire, side, an entire gender that is basically, for Marvel, left out of having their own stories. I don't think that's right. And you think, well, as you said, Marvel doesn't have as many prominent female characters as DC does, so what are you going to do about it? I'm like, well, you gotta try. I mean, look at Batwoman. Nobody knew about her until that the artist, I don't remember his name, until that artist started drawing Batwoman, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, this is an amazing artwork, and everyone started picking up Batwoman comics, and now she's a little bit more well-known. If you never tried to get a female character in her... Why doesn't Miss Marvel have her own book? You know? Like, she's pretty popular. Why doesn't... I don't know. Why did they cancel the Spider-Woman... or the Spider-Girl book? I think that was interesting. And it's not like Marvel is short on female characters that they can't have their own books. I mean, why can't they have any of the X-Men women... be on their own books? I mean, they just had that miniseries with Gambit. He had his own... He has his own book now. Why doesn't any of the X-Men characters that are the girls have their own books? Why doesn't Black Cat have her own book about her stealing stuff or something? Why doesn't Elektra have her own book? Or heck, even X-23. Does she have her own book? She might. X-23 might. I haven't seen any, so maybe her book was canceled. I don't know. Like... You guys might know more than me. You might say, "Oh wait, there's these are female characters in Marvel that has been in books," but I don't know, because I looked in the comic book store where I get comics, and I looked on Marvel's website, and right at this moment, at least, they are selling no books, and it's just kind of sad because I'm finding myself that it doesn't really matter if the character is guy or girl, you know. If it's written good, I'm really going to enjoy it. And in fact, I think it's new to see a good female character written well. I'm finding it a new experience and finding it different. Like, I'm like, okay, well, it's different for me. You know, like I can see guys being the manliest men in comic books all the time. Now let's see how a woman handles a situation and still being cool and awesome. Of course, you know, that being said, it's not like girls can only go for the girl characters. I'm sure that they enjoy reading about the guy characters just as much as I enjoy reading about the girl characters. I'm sure that it's not, some of them it's not that big of a deal for them, but imagine if it was the other way around. If you're a guy, if you're a girl, you already know the situation. But imagine if most of the books were all girl books, like, about girl characters, and you had one company that had absolutely no guy characters. I'd feel a little left out, like, except for in teams, but I'd feel a little left out, you know? So, this is my little message to Marvel. Get on your game, man. Get some of your more famous female characters out there. Put them in their own books. And if you're worried that no one's going to read them, well, you're never going to get anyone to read them if you don't actually make them. I don't know. That's just my thoughts on the subject. So remember, guys, I'm LazyDude99, and if I don't like it, it's not worth it. See you around. Be sure to check out more of my other videos on my channel, and wait for more coming soon.